When you turn 65 and beyond, who will truly stand by your side? When you're younger, the answer might seem obvious: your family, your closest friends, and the people you've known for years. But once you turn 65, reality starts to look a little different. Life changes, people get busy, priorities shift, and suddenly, you realize that the support system you always believed in might not be as reliable as you once thought. In this video, we're going to uncover 6 essential pillars that become more dependable than family as you get older. This isn't about pushing people away. It's about understanding where real stability comes from and making sure you're not left vulnerable when you need support the most. When you build a strong foundation based on these 6 pillars, you gain the security and independence that will carry you through life's challenges. Stay tuned until the end because these pillars may completely change the way you think about support. And once you understand them, you'll never feel powerless, alone, or unprepared again. Light bulb pillar 1, your financial stability. The most reliable support you'll ever have isn't a person. It's your financial independence. Money may not buy happiness, but it does buy security, freedom, and peace of mind. The older you get, the more you realize that relying on family for financial help is not a plan. It's a risk. Your children have their own lives, their own expenses, and their own families to take care of. Even if they love you deeply, they may not always be in a position to help when you need it most. Older adult, think about Richard, 72. Richard always assumed his children would step in if he ever faced financial trouble. He had helped them through college, lent them money when they needed it, and was always there when they called. But when an unexpected medical issue drained his savings, he turned to his kids for help, only to realize that they were struggling with their own mortgages, bills, and financial challenges. Not because they didn't care, but because life is unpredictable. Money with wings, why financial stability is essential. That's why financial stability is one of the strongest pillars of support you can build. White heavy check mark, it's not about being wealthy. It's about being prepared. White heavy check mark, it's about having a plan for emergencies, a steady source of income you can rely on, and a clear understanding of how to manage your money so that you never have to depend on anyone else. Faced with monocle, if you're in your 60s or beyond, ask yourself, do I have enough savings to cover unexpected expenses? Is my retirement income secure? Have I minimized financial risks that could leave me vulnerable? Exclamation mark, if the answer is no, the time to take action is now. White heavy check mark, learn how to budget wisely. White heavy check mark, avoid unnecessary debt. White heavy check mark, invest in long-term stability. Because at the end of the day, your financial security is the one thing that will always stand by you, no matter what life throws your way. Person in lotus position, pillar 2, your physical health. There's one thing in life that no amount of love, money, or support from others can replace: your health. After 65, your body becomes either your greatest ally or your biggest obstacle. The truth is, you can have all the financial security in the world, but if your health fails, your freedom disappears. Red heart, why your health is non-negotiable. While family may care about you, they can't exercise for you, they can't eat the right foods for you, and they can't stop the effects of aging for you. That responsibility falls entirely on you. Faced with head bandage, too many people neglect their health. They assume that when the time comes, someone will be there to take care of them. But the reality is, even if your family loves you deeply, they have their own lives. They may not always have the time, energy, or ability to be your caregiver. Depending on others to manage your well-being can leave you feeling powerless. Books, take Carl, 68, for example. Carl had always been active in his younger years but let himself go after retirement. He figured he had plenty of time to get back in shape. But before he knew it, his energy levels dropped. His mobility declined. Simple tasks became difficult. His children visited when they could, but they couldn't be there every day to help him. Eventually, Carl realized that if he wanted to maintain his independence, he had to take control of his health. Not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Person running, small, consistent efforts make all the difference. White heavy check mark, move your body every day. White heavy check mark, eat foods that fuel your body instead of harming it. White heavy check mark, take your checkups seriously. If you've been ignoring warning signs, aches that won't go away, difficulty walking, or changes in energy levels. It's time to stop pushing them aside. Hourglass not done, your future self will thank you. Because at the end of the day, your strongest support system isn't your children, your siblings, or your friends. It's your own ability to stay strong, active, and capable. White heavy check mark, the more you prioritize your health now, the less you'll have to rely on anyone else later. Handshake pillar 3, your social circle. One of the biggest mistakes people make as they get older is isolating themselves. Maybe it happens slowly. Friends move away, loved ones pass on, and before you know it, your social circle becomes smaller than you ever imagined. Warning: why loneliness is dangerous. The problem is, without strong friendships, loneliness creeps in. And loneliness, especially after 65, is dangerous. It doesn't just affect your emotions, it affects your physical health, mental sharpness, lifespan. Thinking face, you might assume that family will always be there to keep you company. But here's the truth: your children have their own lives. They have careers, families, and responsibilities that keep them busy. They may love you deeply, but they can't be your only source of companionship. 2 women holding hands, why your social network matters. One of the most important pillars of support is your social network, the people who check in on you, make you laugh, bring energy into your life. White heavy check mark, these relationships aren't a luxury. They're a necessity. Woman white hair, take Margaret, 73, for example. Margaret always relied on her family for companionship. She had 2 sons who loved her dearly, but as the years went by, they became busier with work and raising their own children. They still called, but the daily visits and weekend gatherings grew less frequent. Margaret started to feel lonely, waiting for phone calls that didn't always come. Sparkles, then she made a change. Margaret started reconnecting with old friends, joining a community group, and even picking up new hobbies that introduced her to new people. Suddenly, her life was filled with white heavy check mark conversations, white heavy check mark shared laughter, white heavy check mark a renewed sense of purpose. She didn't have to wait on her family to feel connected. She built that connection herself. Handshake, why social connections are priceless. Friendships, community groups, and even casual acquaintances give you something priceless: a sense of belonging. White heavy check mark, whether it's a neighbor you chat with, a book club you attend, or a group at your local gym. Having people in your life outside of your family creates a foundation of emotional strength. White heavy check mark, the more connections you build now, the more support you'll have in the years to come. Face with monocle, ask yourself, who do you have in your life right now that brings you joy? If the answer isn't clear, it's time to start building those connections. Expand your circle for a fuller life. At the end of the day, a strong social network isn't just about having company. It's about surrounding yourself with people who, white heavy check mark, lift you up. White heavy check mark, remind you of your worth. White heavy check mark, make every stage of life richer and more meaningful. The more you expand your circle now, the stronger your emotional foundation will be when you need it most. Direct hit pillar 4, your sense of purpose. One of the most overlooked sources of support in life isn't another person. It's your own sense of purpose. After 65, many people start to feel a shift. The roles that once gave life meaning, being a parent, a worker, or a caregiver, start to fade. Retirement sets in, children become independent, and the pace of life slows down. Without a clear sense of direction, it's easy to start feeling invisible, unneeded, or even lost. Light bulb, the truth about purpose. No matter how much your family loves you, they can't give you purpose. White heavy checkmark, purpose is something you have to build for yourself. White heavy checkmark, having a reason to wake up in the morning. Whether it's a passion, a project, or a goal, keeps your mind sharp, your emotions steady, and your life fulfilling. It's what keeps you engaged with the world instead of just watching from the sidelines. Toolbox, take George, 70, for example. George was a retired engineer. When he left the workforce, he was excited to finally relax. But after a few months, he started feeling restless, like something was missing. His days felt empty. His kids visited occasionally, but they had their own lives. That's when George decided to take action. Child, how he found his purpose again. He started volunteering at a local school, teaching young kids how to build things. Before long, he had a new reason to get up every morning, something that made him feel white heavy checkmark valued, white heavy checkmark useful, white heavy checkmark engaged with life. Seedling purpose isn't just about a job. Purpose doesn't have to come from a job. It can be anything that makes you feel alive, such as learning something new, mentoring others, gardening or painting, traveling, setting personal goals. White heavy checkmark, it's about doing things that bring you joy and keep you mentally and emotionally active. Thinking face feeling like your best days are behind you? It's time to change that mindset. White heavy checkmark, your purpose doesn't disappear as you age. It evolves. White heavy checkmark, the more you invest in finding meaning in your daily life, the less you'll need to rely on others for happiness. Fire, because at the end of the day, the strongest support you can have isn't someone holding your hand. It's the fire inside you that keeps pushing you forward. Speech balloon, if you're still watching and finding these insights valuable, please comment number 4 below to let me know you're here. Person in lotus position, pillar 5, your emotional resilience. Life has a way of testing you no matter how old you are. After 65, challenges don't stop, they just change. Friendships fade. Loved ones pass on. Health issues arise. And sometimes, life feels lonelier than it used to. Red Heart, the reality about emotional support. No matter how much support you have from others, the most reliable source of strength will always come from within. White heavy checkmark, your ability to adapt, process emotions, and find peace in difficult moments is what keeps you moving forward, even when circumstances don't go the way you expected. Handshake, why relying too much on family can be risky. Too many people rely on family to be their emotional support system, believing that their children, siblings, or extended relatives will always be there to comfort them. But the truth is, white heavy checkmark, everyone has their own battles to fight. White heavy checkmark, they may not always have the time or energy to be the source of emotional stability you need. Brain, why emotional resilience matters. That's why building emotional resilience is so important. White heavy checkmark, it allows you to find strength within yourself instead of constantly seeking it from others. Books, take Helen, 75, for example. Helen lost her husband after 40 years of marriage. At first, she leaned on her children for emotional support. But over time, she realized that while they cared deeply, they had their own families and responsibilities to manage. She knew she couldn't expect them to fill the void she felt inside. Sparkles, how Helen built emotional strength. Instead of letting grief consume her, she focused on strengthening herself emotionally. White heavy checkmark, she joined a support group. White heavy checkmark, she started journaling. White heavy checkmark, she practiced daily gratitude. Over time, Helen discovered something powerful. She didn't need someone else to fix her sadness. White heavy checkmark, she had the strength to heal on her own. Water wave, emotional resilience isn't about suppressing emotions. It's not about pretending to be strong all the time. White heavy checkmark, it's about acknowledging pain, processing it in a healthy way, and developing coping mechanisms that allow you to navigate life's ups and downs with grace. Person in lotus position, why finding healthy outlets is key. Emotional resilience is about having outlets, whether it's writing, meditation, therapy, simple self-reflection. White heavy checkmark, these outlets help you find peace within yourself instead of depending on others to provide it. Flexed biceps, no matter what life throws your way, the ability to stand strong on your own will always be one of your greatest sources of support. White heavy checkmark, the more you cultivate emotional resilience, the less you will feel dependent on others to make you feel whole. Thinking face, because at the end of the day, the person who will always be with you through every hardship and triumph is you. Fire, pillar 6, your ability to adapt. If there's one truth about life after 65, it's this: nothing stays the same. White heavy checkmark, people change. White heavy checkmark, circumstances shift. White heavy checkmark, and the things you once counted on may no longer be as reliable as they used to be. Brain, why adaptability is the key to thriving. The key to thriving in this stage of life isn't holding on to the past. It's your ability to adapt. White heavy checkmark, those who struggle the most with aging are often the ones who resist change. White heavy check mark, they cling too tightly to what was instead of embracing what is. Rainbow, on the other hand, those who, white heavy check mark, learn to adjust. White heavy check mark, stay open. White heavy check mark, welcome new possibilities. Find joy and fulfillment, no matter what life brings. Warning: the danger of thinking you're set in your ways. Many people assume that once they reach a certain age, they're set in their ways. But that kind of thinking can be dangerous. White heavy check mark, it can keep you from discovering new opportunities. White heavy check mark, it can limit your ability to meet new people. White heavy check mark, it can prevent you from learning things that could enrich your life. Change is about growing with it. Look at someone like Frank, 78. He had always relied on in-person friendships to stay connected. But when many of his friends moved away or passed on, he initially felt lost. He thought, I guess this is just how it is when you get older. But then, instead of resigning himself to loneliness, he decided to adapt. White heavy check mark, he learned how to use video calls to stay connected with distant family. White heavy check mark, he joined an online discussion group about history. White heavy check mark, he even made a few new friends in the process. Seedling Frank didn't let change defeat him, he grew with it. The people who thrive after 65 aren't necessarily the ones with the most resources or the strongest support system. White heavy check mark, they are the ones who refuse to be stuck in their ways. White heavy check mark, they remain curious and find ways to adjust no matter what life throws at them. When one door closes, they look for another. If a relationship changes, they find new ways to connect. If something stops working, they are willing to try something different. If life shifts, they embrace it with an open mind and heart. White heavy check mark, your ability to adapt is one of the greatest pillars of support you will ever have. Flexed biceps, adaptability brings resilience, optimism, and confidence. The more you embrace change instead of fearing it, the less you'll feel like you're losing something. White heavy check mark, you'll realize that every stage of life offers something new to gain. Speech balloon, if you're still here and finding these insights helpful, type 6 in the comments below to let me know you're watching. Bell, subscribe and stay connected. If you haven't subscribed yet, I recommend you subscribe and turn on the bell so you don't miss any videos. White heavy check mark, your support helps us continue creating good content to inform and inspire you. Direct hit, final thoughts. Building a strong foundation after 65. Reaching 65 and beyond is a stage of life that comes with both wisdom and challenges. And while family may always hold a special place in your heart, the reality is that the most reliable support you'll ever have isn't found in other people. It's found in the foundation you build for yourself. Trophy, the 6 pillars of true stability. White heavy check mark, financial stability ensures that you never have to rely on someone else to get by. White heavy check mark, physical health determines whether you can maintain your freedom and independence. White heavy check mark, your social circle keeps you connected, engaged, and emotionally fulfilled. White heavy check mark, your sense of purpose gives your life meaning and direction no matter your age. White heavy check mark, emotional resilience strengthens you against life's inevitable hardships. White heavy check mark, your ability to adapt allows you to thrive even when things don't go as planned. Glowing star, when you have these 6 pillars in place. White heavy check mark, you will never feel completely alone. White heavy check mark, you will never have to beg for support. White heavy check mark, you won't feel helpless in difficult times. White heavy check mark, you won't wait for someone else to step in and save you. Light bulb, true stability comes from within. Because true stability doesn't come from hoping others will be there for you. It comes from knowing you are already prepared to stand strong no matter what life brings your way. Speech balloon, thank you for joining us today. We'd love to hear from you. White heavy check mark, leave a comment below and share one thing you learned today and how you plan to apply it in your life. Loudspeaker, your thoughts are important to us. Reading your comments gives us great motivation and encouragement. Movie camera, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us continue creating valuable content to inform and inspire you. Raising hands, thanks for watching. We look forward to seeing you in the next video. Stay tuned for more content that helps you build a life full of strength, independence, and fulfillment. Party popper.